The world outside is perfectly still tonight, wrapped entirely in a deep, peaceful, and unbroken sleep. But here inside this room, your tired eyes are wide open, staring silently into the heavy darkness. The glowing red numbers on the digital clock beside your bed coldly and clearly read 3:17 a.m. A sudden, faint sound from the very next room sharply pulls your mind away from the quiet. Instantly, your heart begins to race in the dark, your tired muscles tensing with a heavy anticipation. You hold your breath for just a second, listening closely to the shadows of the silent house. You must understand, this is not just a simple, ordinary act of waking up in the night. No, this is the silent, exhausting, and invisible front line of everyday family caregiving that nobody else sees. With a heavy sigh, you slowly push the thick blanket away, your body deeply aching for rest. Every single muscle in your shoulders and back begs the universe for just one more hour of sleep. You force yourself to sit up on the edge of the mattress, trying desperately to catch your breath. Your bare feet finally touch the cold wooden floor, grounding you back into the harsh midnight reality. You step out of the bedroom and turn around, facing the long, empty, and terribly dark hallway. The absolute silence of the sleeping house feels incredibly heavy, wrapping around you like an invisible storm. Every single step down that dim corridor feels exactly like you are walking through deep, freezing water. You reach their bedroom door, taking a slow, shuddering breath. Inside, the small bedside lamp casts long, fragile shadows on the wall. They are awake, looking around with a mild, heartbreaking confusion. They call out softly to faces and names from a past that isn't here. You step into the dim light, trying your best to hide the exhaustion. You speak with a soft, gentle voice, anchoring them back to reality. Carefully, you guide their fragile frame back under the heavy blankets. Your hands are tender, but underneath, your nervous system is screaming. It begs for mercy, desperate for just one unbroken night of rest. The constant hyper-arousal leaves your body in a state of endless alarm. Even as you tuck them in, your own heart refuses to slow down. You look down at their silver hair, feeling a sudden sharp wave of frustration. It is a dark, heavy resentment, not at them, but at the illness itself, and at the stolen hours of sleep that you will never, ever get back. The silent battle of 3 a.m. is fought entirely within your own chest. You step out of their room, closing the door softly behind you. But as you walk back to your own bed, your mind refuses to settle. A sudden wave of frustration washes over you, dark, sharp, and undeniable. You feel intensely angry at the illness, angry at the relentless cycle, and angry at the lost hours of rest. You close your eyes, praying for just a single moment of peace. And then, the breaking point happens. A faint voice calls out from their room. Again. In that split second, the thin, fragile thread of your patience simply snaps. You march back down the hallway, chest tight with exhaustion and irritation. You open the door, and before you can stop yourself, you let out a sharp, heavy sigh. A harsh whisper of frustration escapes you. Please, just go to sleep. The words hang in the dark air, heavy and irreversible. You look down at their fragile hands, and a terrifying silence follows. The monster of caregiver guilt arrives instantly, dropping onto your chest like a heavy stone. You slide down the cold hallway wall, overwhelmed by the profound caregiving stress. How could I be angry? You whisper to the dark. He is so fragile and vulnerable. The guilt tells you that you are failing, painting you as a terrible person. But please understand, this is not a lack of love. It is the biological reflex of a brain starved of sleep. The sun eventually rises, but the physical toll of inadequate sleep remains heavy. You wash your face, and carefully put on a brave, untroubled smile. This is Tatemae, the social facade we wear to hide our true, exhausted feelings from the world. Society expects you to be a saint, completely ignoring the harsh reality of caregiver burnout. So you serve the morning tea and tell everyone, "We are doing just fine." But this forced facade creates a profoundly deep and echoing social isolation. No one sees the chaotic 3 a.m. battles, or the silent tears shed in the kitchen. In Japanese culture, this silent, painful endurance is known as Gaman. You swallow your pain, biting your lip, believing your silence protects your family. But enduring without help is a cultural trap, one that slowly breaks you from within. During the day, their behavior might seem completely irrational or frustrating. They might pack a bag, insist they need to go home, or search for people from a distant past. This is often a retreat from a painful present, filled with overwhelming feelings of uselessness and loneliness. When we try to force them back into our logical reality, the panic only grows, because painful feelings, when ignored and suppressed, only become stronger. But if we pause, we realize there is always a reason behind the behavior of a disoriented older person. They are not trying to make your life difficult. Many are silently terrified of becoming meiwaku, a burden to the ones they love most. They use symbols. A simple hallway becomes an old familiar street, or an object represents their slipping identity. They are desperately trying to resolve uncompleted life tasks and express long-suppressed emotions. To truly reach them, we must be willing to step into their shoes. This requires pure empathy, the ability to walk in the reality of another without judgment. Instead of arguing with logic, you center yourself, maintain eye contact, and validate their reality. Because painful feelings, once expressed and accepted by a trusted listener, will finally begin to weaken. You listen not just to their confused words, but to the deep, unmet needs hidden right behind them. You look down at the cracked teacup, a quiet reflection of your own fragile family. We spend so much energy mourning the parent we have already lost, even though they are still sitting right in front of us. The traditional expectation of perfect family caregiving often creates an unbearable pressure behind closed doors. But trying to force that unbroken perfection is exactly what shatters us. In the art of Kintsugi, we do not hide the broken pieces. We illuminate the flaws with gold. That gold is pure, unconditional empathy. It is the acceptance of what is, rather than what used to be. You stop trying to pull them back into your world and gently step into theirs. Finding a way to properly cope with this stress can actually reduce the perceived care burden. The invisible wall of Tatemae shatters, replaced by a genuine shared vulnerability. And for a fleeting moment, the fog clears. They smile, and they are truly there. You smile back. Not a social mask, but a real, imperfect, beautiful smile. It allows you to protect your own well-being and maintain a sense of life satisfaction. The 3 a.m. wake-ups won't stop. The illness won't magically disappear, but the battle is no longer against each other. It is a shared journey, mended with gold. Yet empathy alone cannot replace sleep. The relentless physical demands of caregiving still require an urgent reduction in hours. To survive, you must fight the urge to close the door to the outside world. Without external support, caregivers are highly vulnerable to profound social isolation and the tragedy of dying alone. So, you make the call. You ask for help. Stepping into a community center or a dementia cafe opens a new chapter. Psychologists call this developing a strong sense of coherence, knowing you have the resources to cope with the stress. Here, you do not need to wear the mask of Tatemae. You can admit that you are exhausted. You can say, "I am tired," and the people here will simply say, "We know, we are too." And while you rest, your parent is also finding connection, a safe space where they are respected, not corrected. You realize that letting others help does not diminish your love. It sustains it. This network of care is what keeps the fragile family structure from collapsing completely. With a few hours to yourself, you begin to remember who you are outside of caregiving. You start to recover your own Ikigai, your personal reason to wake up each morning, because you realize a profound truth about the long, difficult road ahead. To truly protect the ones you love, you must first fiercely protect yourself. By dedicating time to your own hobbies and change of pace, you build a powerful sense of coherence. Securing enough sleep is no longer a luxury. It is a critical strategy to prevent the heavy toll of caregiver burden. When you protect your own subjective health, you are far better equipped to protect them. As time passes, physical decline like sarcopenia makes daily tasks like walking or eating increasingly difficult. The physical work increases, yet with community support and a resilient mindset, the emotional burden actually decreases. Sometimes they drift deeper into time confusion, desperately searching for people or places from a distant past. Using validation therapy, you do not force them into the present. You listen with empathy and validate their emotional truth. You match their emotion. If they are afraid, you offer security. If they are looking for a mother, you offer comfort. Once their hidden feelings are expressed and heard by a trusted listener, the pain weakens and they find peace. Through this deep, empathetic connection, many caregivers report a surprising increase in their overall life satisfaction. The focus shifts from mourning the parent who is slipping away to finding profound meaning in the fragile moments that remain. This is wabi-sabi, the quiet ability to find beauty in the fragile, the fading, and the imperfect. As they enter the final stages, they may retreat entirely inward, preparing for the natural end of their journey. You sit by their side, embracing the quiet, sacred presence of Mitori, accompanying them to the end. The guilt is gone. The panic is gone. What remains is a quiet, enduring love. When the journey finally ends, the silence in the house is deafening. This is Shibetsu, the profound bereavement that follows the loss of someone you cared for so deeply. For weeks, you might still wake up at 3 a.m. out of habit, your body bracing for an emergency that is no longer there. With the sudden absence of your daily duties, you are hit by a devastating loss of role. Who are you, now that you are no longer a caregiver? The answer lies in the quiet process of Danshari, mindfully sorting through the memories and belongings left behind. You touch the clothes they wore. You see the life they lived before the illness. And the tears finally fall. These are not tears of caregiver burnout. These are tears of pure, unadulterated grief. Your heart feels shattered, but grief is simply love that has nowhere else to go. Every late-night sacrifice, every swallowed tear, every moment of desperate empathy has become the golden lacquer that now holds your own soul together. You look back at the empty room. You did your best, and your best was more than enough. Their memory is no longer a heavy burden, but a gentle, guiding light. And as you open the door to a new morning, you step forward, whole, healed, and beautifully forever changed. The days go on. The grief slowly turns into a quiet strength, woven into the fabric of who you are. You realize that taking care of yourself was never a betrayal. It was the only way to survive. And as you step back into the world, you find others walking this exact same heavy path. You share your story. You help them drop the mask of Tatemae and embrace their own fragile truth. The cracked teacup on your table is no longer a symbol of a broken family. It is a testament to resilience and how proper coping completely restores your life satisfaction. This is the true essence of Kintsugi. We do not erase the cracks. We honor them, because those very fractures are where the light finally enters, and where our deepest empathy is born. You are whole, you are healed, and you are ready to live again. To all caregivers, your journey is seen. Your exhaustion is valid. Your love is monumental. The information in this video is for educational and empathetic purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional therapy, medical care, or crisis support. If you or your family are struggling, please reach out to a qualified professional or a trusted support service. You do not have to walk alone.